This video will present topics of murder, violence, and death. It is thus unsuitable for all audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
The JonBenét Ramsey case is a high-profile, unsolved murder that took place in Boulder, Colorado in 1996. JonBenét Ramsey was a 6-year-old beauty queen who was found dead in the basement of her family's home on December 26, 1996. The case has garnered widespread media attention and public interest, with numerous theories and speculations surrounding the circumstances of her death. Here are some key details and aspects of the case. JonBenét was reported missing on the morning of December 26, 1996 by her parents John and Patsy Ramsey. A ransom note was found in the house demanding $118,000 for JonBenét's safe return. Later that day, JonBenét's body was discovered in the basement of the family home by the father. She was strangled and her mouth was covered with duct tape, and her wrists were bound with a cord. The crime scene was initially mishandled by law enforcement, with friends and family allowed access to the home, potentially contaminating the evidence that was there. Additionally, the ransom note, which was unusually long, was found inside the home, leading some to question its authenticity. The Ramsey family came under intense media scrutiny, partially due to JonBenét's participation in child beauty pageants. The media coverage intensified speculation and fueled public interest, leading to various theories about the family's involvement. The investigation focused on several theories, including the possibility of an intruder, an inside job, or involvement by a family member. The Ramseys were considered suspects by some due to the inconsistencies in their statements and behavior. However, no one has been formally charged or convicted in connection with JonBenét's death. Over the years, advances in forensic technology led to the discovery of an unidentified male DNA on JonBenét's clothing. This DNA has been used to exclude the Ramsey family as a source, but it has it has not matched to any known individuals in law enforcement databases. In 1999, a grand jury was convened to investigate the case. However, no charges were filed against anyone. The prosecutor at the time, Alex Hunter, cited a lack of evidence to proceed with charges. The case remains unsolved, and numerous documentaries, books, articles continue to explore the mystery surrounding JonBenét's death. The lack of resolution has fueled speculation and conspiracy theories, making the case one of the most enduring and perplexing unsolved crimes in recent history. So far, there has been no conclusion to the case. The JonBenét Ramsey case has seen several suspects and persons of interest over the years. While the investigation has never resulted in formal charges or convictions, various individuals have been scrutinized. Here are some key figures associated with the case. The father, John Ramsey. JonBenét's father came under suspicion due to the discrepancies in his initial statements and because he found JonBenét's body in the basement. However, he and his wife have maintained their innocence. The mother, Patsy Ramsey, JonBenét's mother, was also a person of interest. The ransom note in the house was written on a pad belonging to Patsy, leading to speculation. Like her husband, she's denied any involvement in the case. Burke Ramsey, the brother. JonBenét's older brother, Burke, was 9 at the time of her death. Some theories suggested that Burke accidentally killed his sister and the family tried to cover it up. Burke filed a lawsuit against CBS in 2016 over a documentary that explored the theory. The lawsuit was settled. An unknown, unidentified intruder. One theory proposes that an unknown intruder broke into the Ramsey home and committed the crime. Supporters of this theory pointed to the evidence such as an unopened basement window and to an unidentified DNA sample found on JonBenét's clothing. John Mark Carr. In 2006, Carr confessed to the murder of JonBenét Ramsey while in Thailand. However, his confession was deemed unreliable and DNA testing did not match him to the crime scene. Carr ultimately was not charged in connection to the case. Gary Olivia. Olivia was convicted as an offender who claimed to have been in Boulder, Colorado at the time of JonBenét's death. However, there's no conclusive evidence linking him to the crime, and he has not been charged of the crime. Chris Wolf. In 2000, a man named Chris Wolf came forward claiming to have information about the case. He alleged that his friend named Michael Helgoff, who had at the time passed away by self-infliction wounds in 1997, was involved in JonBenét's murder. The investigation, however, did not find sufficient evidence to support this claim. It's important to note that none of these individuals have been formally charged or convicted in connection with the JonBenét Ramsey death. The case remains open and the Boulder Police Department continues to investigate new leads or evidence that may emerge. If you have any information, please contact the appropriate authorities with it. The JonBenét Ramsey case has involved numerous investigators from different agencies over the years. The case was initially handled by the Boulder Police Department, and later a grand jury was convened to further investigate. Here is a few of the key investigators and officials associated with the case. Steve Thomas was one of the lead investigators from the Boulder Police Department assigned to the JonBenét Ramsey case. He resigned from the force in August 1998, citing frustration with the investigation. Lou Smith was a detective who initially worked for the Boulder Police Department and later joined the district attorney's office as an investigator. He believed in the intruder theory and clashed with other investigators over the direction of the case. Linda Arndt was a detective with the Boulder Police Department who was present at the Ramsey home on the day JonBenét's body was discovered. She was criticized for her initial handling of the crime scene. John Douglas is a former FBI profiler who was consulted by the Boulder Police Department to provide insights into the case. He has written about his views on the investigation in various books. Michael Beckner served as the chief of police of the Boulder Police Department during the JonBenét Ramsey investigation. He later provided information and answered questions on an online forum, shedding light on some of the aspects of the case. Michael Caine was the prosecutors involved in the presenting of evidence to the grand jury in 1999. However, no charges were filed based on the grand jury's findings. Alex Hunter was the district attorney for the Boulder County at the time of JonBenét Ramsey's investigation. He decided not to pursue charges based on the grand jury's recommendations, citing insufficient evidence. These individuals played a key role at various stages of the investigation. It's worth noting that the case has generated significant controversy with different opinions among investigators and experts regarding the handling of evidence and the direction of the investigation. The case remains officially unsolved, with nobody being charged. If you have any information, please present it to the appropriate authorities. The JonBenét Ramsey case involved a complex array of evidence, some of which has been highly scrutinized and debated. Here are some of the key pieces of evidence associated with the case. The ransom note. A lengthy ransom note was found in the Ramsey home on the morning of December 26, 1996. The note demanded $118,000 and was addressed to JonBenét Ramsey's father, John Ramsey. The note was written on a pad of paper from inside the Ramsey home belonging to the mother. The crime scene itself. JonBenét's body was discovered in the basement of the Ramsey home. She had been strangled and her mouth was covered in duct tape. Her wrists were bound with a cord. The crime scene was initially contaminated, with friends and family allowed to access the home before proper forensic procedures were implemented. DNA evidence. Unknown male DNA was found on JonBenét's clothing. The evidence has been found and was considered a focal point in the investigation. The DNA did not match any of the Ramsey family members, but has not yet been matched to any known individuals by law enforcement in their databases. The basement window. There was an open basement window that raised suspicions of a possible break-in. However, it later was determined that the window was not a likely point of entry. Stun gun theory. Some speculated that JonBenét may have been incapacitated by a stun gun, as marks stun gun marks were found on her body. However, this is a theory that has been disputed, and the marks could also be consistent of other sources. Garo Maridosian's suitcase. A suitcase was found in the basement, and it was initially believed to be a potential point of entry for an intruder. Attorney Garo Maridosian, who represented the Ramsey family, later revealed that he had placed the suitcase there. The 911 call. Patsy Ramsey made a 911 call to report JonBenét missing on the morning of December 26, 1996. Some analysts have studied the call for clues about the case. Burke Ramsey's interviews. Interviews with JonBenét's older brother, Burke, were conducted to gain insight into the family dynamics and events leading to the crime. The grand jury testimonies. Testimonies and evidence presented to the grand jury in 1999 remained sealed, but leaks and unofficial reports have been provided, and some information about the proceedings has come out. Behavior and statements of the Ramseys. Inconsistencies in statements made by John and Patsy Ramsey, as well as their behavior in the aftermath of JonBenét's death, has been scrutinized by investigators and the public. As usual, It is important to note that the interpretation of these pieces of evidence has been subject to much debate, and the case remains officially unsolved. The Boulder Police Department and other investigators have continued to explore new leads and re examine evidence over the years.